What's going on, everybody? I'm TRAKR Mike. There's no question that in today's day and age that technology plays a huge role in our daily lives. It's even influenced us in our hunting, our fishing, whether it be mapping systems, GPSs, things of that nature, and now it's moving into the tracking world. So in this video, we're going to discuss a new app to help get you connected to trackers. So this app can be found wherever you get your apps, whether you're on Android or iOS. It's spelled TRAKR. And we're going to look at it from the hunter's perspective as well as the tracker's perspective. And then we'll wrap things all together with my personal thoughts of the usability, the ease of use, and the viability of this particular app to get you connected to a tracker. So as a tracker, my personal mission is to help you, the hunter. So first we're going to dive into the hunter side of this app. So it's fairly simple to use from the hunter perspective. You're simply going to open up the app. You're going to click the plus in the top right corner to submit a new request for a tracker. Once you've navigated past that, it's going to ask you to tell you a little bit about what's going on. The first screen is going to ask you about where you're hunting. It's very simple. You can either type in your city and state, or you can use the map and just drop a pin in the area that you're located. So I'm just doing a little test track here. I'm just going to drop it down in the city of Detroit somewhere. As you scroll down, it's going to ask you for a little more information of the particular land type. Is it public or is it private land? Then moving on, it's got a section for the reason why you're requesting a tracker. You're either not sure of your shot, there's a lack of blood, you've tracked and lost blood, or you've jumped the deer and can't pick the track back up. Any information that you as the hunter can put in to kind of help us trackers know what's going on with your particular situation. It's then going to give you the opportunity to select what type of animal you shot. Then it's going to ask you the date and time that it was shot. This is going to help the tracker decide what the best course of action is in your particular situation. So then from there, it's going to move on to get a little more information about your hunt. It's going to ask you how high you were particularly hunting. This is going to help the tracker assess the shot angle and things of that nature that may be beneficial in determining whether or not your animal is fatally hit. Then there's a little item where you can fill in what the deer did after the shot. This is very important information to us trackers because it can help us determine what may be hit. As you navigate further, it's going to ask you about the type of weapon you are using. You can type it in, or you can actually add and save the weapons that you have, whether it be a bow, a gun, what type of gun. You can input the caliber and things of that nature. As we continue to navigate through, it's going to ask you all the questions a tracker is typically going to ask you if you were to call one on the phone. Most trackers across the country are going to ask you very similar questions. And then there's going to be click boxes for you to select the type of sign that you were seeing on the arrow or at the shot site. You just click, uncheck, check, whatever ones apply to your particular situation. This is going to be beneficial to the tracker to help determine what may be hit, and again, the proper course of action and time that you may need to track. The next section is one of my favorite features in this app from the hunter's perspective as well as the tracker's perspective, because it is really going to dial in for the tracker what may be hit. It's going to be that grid that you've probably seen floating around the internet in various forms to help you pinpoint where you believe the animal is hit. The tracker is going to take that information coupled with all the other information you've provided and develop a really good theory of what may be hit and the proper amount of time that needs to pass before we start tracking. It's then going to ask you information on the course of actions you've already taken, whether or not you've already tracked the animal, how long you waited before you started tracking, how far you've tracked, and how many people that you've had already help you with the track. At the end of this section is my absolute favorite feature in this entire app. It's the ability to upload images or videos of your shot, your arrow, any blood sign that you've seen. This is some of the most valuable information that you can give to a tracker. Now, once you've filled out all the necessary information and you've clicked that submit request button, it's going to then send all that information out to every tracker in your area who may be available. Once trackers start to see it, they're going to go through that information, and if they're within your area, their time allows it, all of those necessary things, they can then hit apply to the track, and it's going to pop up on your screen that a particular tracker or several trackers are available to track your animal. Now, it is a little bit more of an intensive process to get involved with this app from a tracker's perspective. You do have to go in and make a profile, fill out your name, your phone number, some basic information about yourself, how long you've been tracking, if you have any certifications. And it does take a little bit of time to get authorized for this app because they are making an effort to kind of check and verify all of the trackers that are on the app. You can also put in information like whether or not you have a fee, how much your fee is, and the types of animals that you would normally track. In the lower left-hand corner of this app, you're going to see an icon for My Jobs. If you click on this, it's going to show you a list view of all the jobs that you've applied to take from a hunter track request. If you click on the individual job, it's going to show you the map and the pin of where that particular hunter is. Now, if we look to the bottom of the screen, there's a button for Open the Questionnaire. That's going to open up and give you all the information that the hunter inputted that we looked at earlier from the hunter's side of things. It's going to tell you the type of animal was shot, how far their shot was, how high they were up in a tree, etc. Now, if we go back out to the My Jobs main page, in the upper right corner, if you click the pin, this is a cool feature for trackers, you can adjust the range that you're willing to track. So let's say you've traveled halfway across the state, but you want to see if there's any tracks available. You can go to this section, click that pin icon, and adjust your pin to where you're at that particular moment. This will let you see any requests that may be available in that area, or you can adjust it as you're traveling and see what pops up as you go. So let's say I do take a track that's an hour and a half away. Well, maybe I'm out in that direction, and perhaps if there is a track that's within 10, 15, 20 minutes of where I'm at, that I'd be willing to take. I can go ahead and adjust my pin to where I'm at, reduce my size, and take a track that's relatively close if there's a hunter in need. Now we'll navigate back to the main page and we'll move over to the second icon, which is the requests. This is going to be a list of all of the requests that are within your defined service area at that particular moment. So from this section, in the upper right-hand corner, there's a little map icon. If you click that, it's going to show you a map view of all the requests that are within your defined service area. Now we're going to back out to the main screen and go to our last section, which is the updates. This is kind of just a brief of all the activity that's happened within your service area, whether someone submitted a new request, whether you've applied for a job, or if a track was taken. We're kind of going to have to wait till season starts to see how this navigation really works, but I am looking forward to digging further into this app. So for the summary from a hunter's perspective, I think overall this is a very beneficial app, and I would recommend you download it just in case you happen to need it. The big benefits from the hunter's side is you only have to put the information once. If you've ever tried to get a tracker and you've called and called and called, you've probably been asked the same questions over and over again by every tracker you've talked to. This streamlines that process, is going to make things more efficient for you when you're looking for a tracker. As well, the other big benefit for this is a national app. So if you happen to travel for hunting, this is going to be available in any state where tracking is currently legal. So from the hunter's perspective, the app is free to download. However, there is, I believe, a $10 fee in order to connect you to a tracker. Now, I have talked to the creator about this, and he's told me that if something doesn't pan out, like your schedules don't line up with the tracker that you first picked, that you can then go back in and cancel that tracker and select another tracker. Now moving on to the tracker side of this app, again, it's absolutely free to download. Currently, it's free to apply to be a member of this particular app. And the huge benefit here is that you get all the information you need without having to spend all that time on the phone. You can scroll through, check out the tracks, see if it's a viable track, if it's within your area, if it's within the time you're willing to drive, and then be able to get more information from the hunter if they select you as their tracker. Overall, I'm interested to seeing how this app develops over the years. I think from a hunter's perspective, it's going to kind of streamline the process of searching for a tracker. You're not going to have to make dozens of calls. You're not going to have to reiterate the same information to dozens of trackers, only to find out that anybody who's close to you can't make it at that particular time. The only downside I see here is the frustrations if a hunter puts in a request and nobody responds to it, and they're left wondering, if any trackers have even seen it. So I don't think from a hunter's perspective that it's quite ready to replace the old systems that many states have instituted of having groups and networks and chats and trackers working together with other trackers to try to coordinate to get as many hunters as we can help. But in the long run, as it develops, I think it's going to benefit hunters. From a tracker's perspective, there's really no downside. You get to download the app for free. You get to become a member for free. You're going to see these tracking requests, and you're going to be able to connect with hunters at no cost to you. So as this app develops, if you guys decide to use it, I would love your feedback on what you think so I can dig into it farther from both a hunter's perspective and a tracker's perspective. We really hope this video gave you some insight about the new TRAKR app. If it did, we would love it if you would whack that subscribe button below. That'll help us to bring you more information like this.